Hello everybody, this is Bird Brain. We're here, we are nerdy for the birdies. Eagles have their first decisive win in a long time, their first of the season, over the New York Giants 28-3. And there is a lot of good to talk about, there are some negative things to talk about, so we're going to get into that with my observations, and of course a very special player of the game. So let's talk about first, I think one of the highlights of the game, the run game, namely Saquon. And I thought the run game as a whole looked pretty good. Now, Jalen didn't have the most rushing yards himself, but that's just because he didn't have really a lot of scrambles, but he had a nice one on fourth down. He had a couple nice fourth down scrambles, or I think he had a fourth down scramble and a third down scramble. That looked pretty good. Obviously, he had two rushing touchdowns. Gainwell got some snaps, and I thought he looked solid. And of course, the headliner, Saquon, who had some amazing runs today, some really nice big chunks that just wore on the Giants and really just mentally really got down to them. So, yeah, I'm really overall pleased with the run game. I think it's probably the best it's looked as a whole this season, I would say. Saquon reaching near a career high, a lot of positive things there. Not really much else to say. I do want to circle back to the run game, but I kind of want to save those thoughts for my final observation. Flipping sides of the football, let's talk about the defense. Had a really strong game. The defense in the last 2 weeks, you had 8 sacks today, 5 sacks last week. They came in off the bye with 6 sacks as a team. They're starting to come. Now, Deshaun Watson and Daniel Jones are not the best quarterbacks in the league, and that is what's going to lead to some of these sacks happening. But the fact of the matter is they took advantage of it. And it was nice to see the guys who got home. It's nice to see Josh Sweat, who now, I believe, has had a sack in every game the last 3 games. Jalen Carter has 2 sacks today. You know, Nakobe Dean as a blitzer got 2 sacks today. Nolan Smith got a sack. He could have had another one if Carter hadn't gotten it. Jalix Hunt getting his first career sack. Bryce Huff getting his first full sack today. Nice to see these guys all getting home as a pass rush group. It's slowly starting to come together. The secondary, I thought they played fairly well. Man, Quignon's getting close to getting his first pick. He could have had one today. He could have had one against Cleveland. He could have had one against the Saints, the Falcons. I mean, once those hands get right, Quignon is going to be one of the... He's going to be in a really elite corner. He just has to get his hands on the football. He's getting closer, though. He's doing the hard part, and that's the exciting part. But yeah, really no complaints for the defense. They didn't give up a touchdown again. Again, some of this is the offenses they are playing, but they really shouldn't be giving up touchdowns. Daniel Jones, I think, barely had 100 yards. They just couldn't do anything, even with Malik Neighbors. And Malik Neighbors got a few catches here and there, but didn't really have significant impact in the game. So, in my honest opinion, I thought the defense played phenomenally. They did exactly as they were supposed to. They saw a banged-up offensive line, a bad quarterback under pressure, and kind of a weak overall offense, and held those guys in check, and nobody really did much of anything. So, that's good. But really my first negative point is the offensive line in Jalen today. And Jalen, as a performer, I thought did fine. You know, he didn't throw a ton today because the Eagles ran so much, but they gave up a lot of pressure. And some of that is on Jalen, some of that is on the offensive line. And look, you don't have Jordan Mailata right now, and you lost Mekhi Becton, and you're going up against Dexter Lawrence. There has to be a natural clock going on in Jalen's head that's telling him, you know, all right, we got to snap the ball, we got to go, we got to go, we got to go. And he just wasn't doing that. And unfortunately, that's where these sacks came from. And there's a few where he's just scrambling backwards and he just takes a sack on third down. The Eagles weren't great on third down today. That is a problem, and the sacks were a problem. And even down your left tackle, dealing with some backups, Jalen's a veteran quarterback. We expect him at this point in his career to be able to navigate pressure better. And the thing is, it's not going to get much easier, because next week you're going to have to play Trey Hendrickson, who's going to predominantly line up over the left tackle. So you're going to get Trey Hendrickson back there. You're going to get the Jaguars, who have, I believe, Josh Hines-Allen lines up on that side, if I'm not mistaken, or Trayvon Walker, one of the two. You have the Cowboys, which at that point you might get Micah if he's healthy, and if he is healthy, he's going to be lining up most likely on that left tackle, trying him. So it's going to be interesting. So they have to be able to find ways to mitigate pressure. Some of that can help with the play calling. Some of that also comes to executing earlier on downs. And that really is my next negative point, and it also reflects on the offense. The slow starts are getting a little ridiculous, and a lot of it comes down to early down execution. The reason why the Eagles struggled on third down is because most of their third downs were third and long. You're in third and long with a backup left tackle and at points a backup right guard going up against the best pass rush in the league, because the Giants have the most sacks in the league. And after today, they definitely added to that record. These are the results you're gonna get. And I know that people hate that. But the fact of the matter is you have to be better on first and second down. And it feels like the Eagles started to find answers in the second half. Some of that being the Giants' defense wearing down. Some of that being they actually did do some creative things. But for the most part, early down execution hasn't been strong. That falls on Jalen. That falls on the coaching staff. They have to be better. And that's why they're not starting fast. And a lot of the first half was a lot of bleh from the offense, and then a big Saquon Barkley run, and then, of course, AJ's amazing touchdown catch. That's about it. Again, I'm fairly pleased with the performance of the team, more so the defense than the offense. And really with the offense, I'm extremely pleased with the running, how they ran the football today. But the execution issues, early downs, and their inability to start fast this season is a problem. I was watching the Patriots-Jaguars game this morning, and on the Patriots opening drive, the Patriots and the Eagles at the time were the only two teams not to score on their opening drive, and the Patriots scored a touchdown in their opening drive today. So, the Eagles at this point are the only team not to score on their opening drive, or not even score in the opening quarter. And the Eagles won very convincingly today. They won 28-3. Imagine if the Eagles executed even better, what kind of offense this could be. And part of the problem is they haven't been healthy, they're learning a new offense, and it's hard with all these moving pieces. But a lot of these guys are some of the best at their positions, or among some of the best at their positions, and we expect more out of them. So for that reason, the offense needs to find an identity. And I think today they may have found one, or at least one for the next few weeks. And that being a power run offense. And this is not the first time Philadelphia has been this. 2021, that was pretty much their offense the entire back half of the season. They did it at times in 2022. And the thing is that when the Eagles do it, they're really good. And being a power run offense does not mean you never throw the football. Jalen's not going to throw it as much. You use the run to set up passing concepts, right? You can take play action shots off of it and come up with some interesting plays. Saquon Barkley right now might be the best player on your offense. If not him, then it's probably AJ, right? Lean into that. Gainwell at times can run the ball pretty nicely. Shipley didn't have the best ending, but he also was running against the weakest version of the offensive line right now in a very much known run situation, so I'm not going to really judge his yardage and average. But I do think that if the Eagles lean into that and get creative off of it. I kind of the Eagles lined up in Wildcat. I can't remember the last time they did that. They lined up in Wildcat and had a play where Saquon faked it to Devontae. Jalen was lined up at receiver. Now, I'm curious if we get an all 22 of the play. If Jalen runs a route there, that could be the new Philly. We'll see if they kind of come back to that play later on in the season. But I think, especially with the idea that even though you have two good receivers, the Eagles tend to be at their best when they're just pounding the rock and just chewing up clock, chewing up yardage, and embarrassing the opposing team. They do that so well because they have such a powerful offensive line. And they keep trying to get away from it, and it's frustrating. But at the same time, I thought this was a strong win. It was good to see the Eagles beat a team by multiple scores. It was good to see the Eagles control this game pretty much throughout. And it was not perfect. There were mistakes by the offense, but if they can get those cleaned up and get healthy, I think it's going to help us in the long run. Now, player of the game, I think, is very obviously going to be Saquon Barkley. I could have given it to him week 1. I didn't. I'm going to give it to him here. 176 yards. I did not look at what his career high is, but I believe this was the second highest in his career, so that's really nice. I wished he honestly got 200, but at that point the game was over. The Eagles knew it and didn't really make sense to keep running him hard. But yeah, I thought he played really well today. I was pleased with the way He ran the ball, had some really nice runs, and he was finishing runs. And, he'll say, it's just another game. The way he was finishing those runs, you could tell that he really, he wanted to stick it to his former team a bit. He was running dudes over, and maybe these guys are used to it from practice, but, all around, great game for Saquon. Really overall good team win. Next week they get Cincinnati. This will be probably the toughest offense they face since Tampa. We'll see. Has the defense been playing well because they're legitimately playing better? Or are they playing well because, they've been playing weaker quarterbacks? This is going to be a fun game. Can't wait to talk about that one with you guys. Anyways, this is Bird Brain. Hope you guys enjoyed being ready for the birdies. Fly, Eagles, fly. See you later.